buzz off. We have the pleasure and the honor. Shh. Listen, whatever she says sounds smart. With that accent, you know how that is? Whatever she says.
Good morning, ladies. First of all, I'd like to dedicate this year for a couple of friends. For Refuah Shlema for Avram ben David ben Sarah Rachel and Hania Bas Leah.
Amen.
So my shir today is something a little bit off the topic. It's not kosher. It's not something I chose. It's partly taken from Rav Dessler, some from my husband, some from me. And it is, and what is the difference between the natural and the miraculous? Are they not both from Hashem? Many of our friends pride themselves on believing Jews that they find this question very naive. Of course, everything is from God, they will reply. Nature is simply the law of God established at the time of creation, which regulates the process of this world in accordance with the principles of cause and effect. This is how the world operates, they tell us, and sometimes Hashem will override the laws he has written into the cosmos and will perform open miracles which have no physical cause. This is the case of the miracles in the Tanakh that we see. But then we have to ask the question, so what is cause and effect? Why does the effect precede the cause? We know that, how does grain grow? You know, we have to plant it, we have to plow it, we have to water it, you know, all these natural things that bring about this growth. But why do these factors cause it to grow? So everybody will answer, but you see, it always happens like that. It is precisely obvious that Hashem has implanted in creation to bring about the growth of grain. This is what we call nature. But when we can go more deeply, we must face the following question. It must be admitted that we have no answer of why the effect follows the cause. All we know is that it happens. So let us take an example, Leolenu, of somebody who's, who's nifter, is put in the grave. And after, say, maybe some years, we see that, in the grave, and it decomposes and it goes to dust. And then somehow, some years later, we saw that somehow there's a human form coming up from this earth, and suddenly he rises up from the grave. Wouldn't we say that this is a miracle? So we have witnessed a great miracle. So then why do we not see the same thing when we're plowing and graining and everything like that? Why should this not also be a resurrection of the dead? In fact, it is a miracle. But we are so used to it, we become so habituated by it, that it is not like we see of people. The truth is, there is no essential difference between the natural and the miraculous. Everything is a miracle. The world has no other cause but the will of Hashem. His deed and his conduct of the world are the immediate consequences of his will. What he wills will come into being without any intermediary. We call God's acts a miracle when he wills with an occurrence which is novel and unfamiliar to us, and which consequently makes us aware of the hand of God. We call God's acts nature when he wills that certain events should occur in a recognizable pattern with which we become familiar. This presents us with a challenge. We can choose to recognize it as the will of Hashem, or we can imagine that Hashem has delegated certain powers to nature. Nature has no objective existence. It is merely an illusion which gives man a choice to exercise his free will, to err or to choose the truth. What is real is the will of Hashem and nothing else. When something occurs by what we call natural causes, all this means is that it is God's will and to exercise our behira. In a case where the event is hidden from our human eyes and will never be known to us, there can be no test for our free will, and there is therefore no need for natural cause and effect. But then there are those people who have successfully overcome the challenge of nature, that it is no longer a problem. I'm sure you're all familiar with the story of Rabbi Hanania ben Dosa, when his daughter put vinegar in the Shabbos lights to light. And Hanania ben Dosa said, if Hashem makes oil boil, he'll make vinegar boil. He'll also make vinegar boil. He had reached a level when there was no difference between the natural and the miracle. And then there are people who take time pondering natural factors which affect their affairs, but did not take the course that they originally imagined. We manipulate on one side and Hashem gives from another. We can go into details and factors that think we can forecast, but the ultimate outcome is that it cannot be foreseen. So, let us avoid the trap of overdependence on natural causes. We must learn to realize that everything comes to us directly from Hashem and that the physical causes have no power and no reality. And sometimes also people make a big mistake. Sometimes they feel it's so hard to earn a livelihood and they try and manipulate all situations this way and that way and all riding over people and doing sorts of things that is useless. And this is all useless and destructive because Hashem has provided opportunities in abundance, and only we have to look at the wonderful world around us, the beauty of the sun and the stars and the skies and the trees, and everything is Hashem's beautiful world. Hashem wants to teach us that his bounty is unending. With him, there is no lack of opportunities or causes. We should learn that it is not the causes which give or take away. It is Hashem alone who bestows or withholds. And all this is done accordingly to his will. And we say in our davening, you grant knowledge to man. When the time has come for the person to succeed, Hashem will put into his mind the brilliant idea which will also bring him success. And also, he is also the one that has the power to create wealth. How can we be such fools as to pride ourselves on thoughts and ideas which Hashem has himself given us? How can we pat ourselves on the back and preen ourselves on our wisdom and our cleverness? We must search for ways and means to strengthen emunah in our hearts, and that all causes come from Hashem. When we get to this thinking, we will learn to keep clear of the fatal pathways of natural